The surprising and probably the most effective way to market.
Speechless. Speechless.
Hi, I'm Kim Wilson.
And I'm Natasha Marchewka.
And this is Speechless. Welcome to our behind-the-scenes take on real life in VO, where we share our stories and our resources and our unsolicited opinions. Today, we just have someone, let's say, interviewed by CNN, the BBC, the Wall Street Journal. Who else? Anybody else?
KTLA, the station here in LA where I am.
Gosh.
She actually happens to be my stepmother as well.
Hello.
Mary Jane Cops is the phone lady.
Phone lady.
Yeah, you'll find out why she's called the phone lady. But more importantly, really, is the amount of wisdom that she has is mind-boggling. And in terms of cutting to the chase and figuring out how to get to the hirers that want to hire you, that need to hire you, she gives us all the tips.
And we get her all to ourselves.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Mary Jane. The very first thing that we do is we share what we've brought to drink. Did you bring a beverage to share for our...
Yes.
Ooh,
Look
your
who's
phone.
talking. Oh my gosh, the phone and the
Your
phone
phone
background.
mug.
I love it.
Your phone mug. Cool.
And I am drinking a custom-made chocolate mint tea from Sipology.
What?
Oh, cool.
That's
yum.
too cool for me. I'm embarrassed what I brought now. I took a page from Natasha's book and I bought these drinks that come in a can. Oh, it's kind of like blown out.
There you
It's
go.
called Edna's Paloma. But there's no alcohol in it, so I'm going to have it as a mocktail today. And I made it really pretty in my glass.
Ooh, nice.
So that should be...
Well, and I'm taking a page from Mary Jane's book. She drinks a lot of coconut water, so I brought coconut water
Yum.
today.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks
Cheers.
for being here, Mary Jane.
Yes.
Yay. Well, Kim's been asking me, what is the phone lady? What does it mean to be the phone lady? So why don't we start?
You are known as the phone lady. You were interviewed on like CNN or something amazing for being the phone lady.
Lots of
And
amazing.
I was like, at first, I was like,
places.
I thought Natasha was joking. She was like, "Oh yeah, Mary Jane, she's the phone lady." I'm like, ha, ha, ha. What? What's the phone lady? What? That's a real thing. So I can't wait to hear you tell us all about it.
Well, I've been the phone lady for 18 years, and I train people how to communicate effectively on a telephone.
Oh my
It's
God.
that straightforward. And primarily, my market is sales and customer service. But I also end up working with young people who are in the job market. That's a certain percentage of the work that I do.
Oh, that's cool. Note to self. Both of my girls are just entering the job market.
That's right. Yeah. So I, of course, know all about the phone lady and I've known Mary Jane for over 40 years. So
That's incredible.
This is an interesting interview because I already know all the answers, but I really
I don't.
I don't know all the answers. What we decided to lean into, because Mary Jane is so good at not just phone communication, but communication across the board, business, personal. She's made it her life's mission almost, I think, to be a good communicator. And such a good researcher, and it's really good at what she does. So I thought we would start with, what does it mean? Does your target market know you exist? And what is meant by that? Because as you said, you do help young people with job searches. And as freelancers, we're always looking for new jobs every single day of our life. And so this whole idea of communicating is so important. And how do you communicate with your potential target market? So do they know that we exist? So what is meant by that in your terms, Mary Jane?
Thank you. I love this question. Um, I'm going to start with a story, if that's okay.
Yes.
So I started my first business way back in 1987. And if we can think back to that time, we
Yep.
there was only really one choice to build the business, and that was picking up the phone and then putting stuff in the regular mail. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
And my business partner ended up being much more introverted than we thought. And all of that selling or building of the business fell to me. And it was a huge challenge. I'd been a journalist prior. I knew how to talk on the phone, but building a business was something entirely different. And I did feel defeated a lot of the time until I realized that my job was to make sure that the people that I could serve knew I was a choice. They knew I existed. I could not control whether they said yes to me or no to me, but I could control that they knew I was an option. So when they sat down at a boardroom table, or they sat down in your case to listen to various voices, you are part of that meeting. They may not choose you, but if you're not part of that meeting, you're not getting hired.
Mhm.
So that's what it means. Does your target market know you're a choice?
Mhm.
Bottom line, that's
Yep.
what it's all
So if we
Period.
rest on our laurels, then we're just sitting in a vacuum. People don't
Mm,
know that we're around. You can audition, and that's important to come
very.
to the table. But in order to have a sustainable business, as Kim and I talk so often about, you need to be proactively putting yourself out there in other ways. So,
Mhm.
what do you say in regards to how to best contact potential buyers or hirers in the current business environment, given that that's one of the
Mhm.
reasons Mary Jane gets interviewed so much by the media now, CNN, and we got to see her on KTLA here in LA. Um, how to best contact potential hirers, given that the phone is used differently than it was some time ago.
Right.
from what I've learned from you, Kim, your podcast, all the other material you put out, being in voiceover is slightly different than a lot of the other industries I work in, because often you don't know who actually is going to do the final hiring decision. So I think your marketplace is larger in that you're going to end up contacting a lot of people that may not make the final decision, but still need to know that you exist. And we rely a lot on marketing, which marketing is different than selling. And in reality, as freelancers and solopreneurs, we shy away from selling. We go, oh, I don't want to sell.
Right.
I've watched The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
Um, but if you own a business and you're not selling, you're simply unemployed.
Mm,
So you
wow.
have to understand.
I need a sip.
Sorry, I know that's
No,
harsh.
it's a good one.
So the idea is to figure out where your best target market is and how you can best reach them. And today, when we only send emails, for example, um, AI is getting smarter and smarter in our spam folder. A lot of those emails just don't get anywhere. And you have tons of competition there too that wasn't around 10 years ago in terms of trying to get into that inbox. So only relying on digital communication really limits your ability to reach the people who might hire you. So phoning, if you have the ability to track down a phone number, you're going to 99.9% of the time get voicemail. But you know what? you're a voice actor. So that's okay. Because the sound of our voice means we're a genuine person. And they can hear in the sound of your message that you've chosen to call them, that you're interested in them, that this is a custom approach to them to introduce what you do, that you've taken the time to do a bit of research and know that your voice fits or the work you do fits with what you're doing. So,
Mm.
again, you probably won't reach them, but the fact that they hear the sound of your voice is going to influence the fact that they respond to you. And today, as soon as you leave a voicemail message, you're going to send the email. Now, in your voicemail message, you're going to say, I'm also going to take the liberty of sending you an email in case that's easier for you. And your email can start with the subject line, my voicemail earlier today. So that stands a better chance of getting through spam because it looks to spam like an ongoing conversation. And if they,
Right.
right, if they get your email first, they'll go and listen to your voice. If they get your voicemail first, they'll go and look at your email, and your email can include the link for them to book the conversation with you. Because today, nobody likes an unexpected phone call.
So, what are your thoughts since COVID then? When I started back I used to try to make phone calls, but since COVID, I noticed a lot of my phone calls were going to people's personal cell phones. Is it still okay to leave? Is that still like okay to leave a voicemail there?
Yeah, I think in your business, certainly a lot of their business is on the cell phone. And to be, we actually don't know. I have a lot of clients who have a business cell and a personal cell.
Really?
Ah,
And so it may not be going to their personal cell. You don't know that.
that's
And
true.
I I think what we do, and I do it myself too, depending on my level of self-confidence in a particular day. I hesitate because I think, well, I don't want to bother them. Is this a good time to call? All those things that we say to ourselves. But if they're running their business through a cell phone, you can call that cell phone.
Mm.
Right. You make it sound so duh.
Yeah, so
But
straightforward.
when left
I'm
to our
not
own
saying,
devices, we're like, no. Right.
well, I'm not saying it's not hard that it doesn't take some discipline.
Of course.
But again, I always go back to that. If they don't know you're there, they can't hire you.
Yeah.
And they may not be happy with the voice they're currently using. They may not be happy with um, how they're acquiring talent, but they don't know what to do until you call them.
Right.
In our business, it's
Mm.
you're not allowed to call agents, for example.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so that's, it's a no-no to call agents. But I also think phone fear is just, it's rampant. Mary Jane, talk a little bit about phone fear because I know it's
Mm.
your specialty
Phone
and
fear.
most people have a phone fear,
I
right?
love that little
Yeah,
saying, phone fear.
fair.
That's a real
Well,
thing.
interestingly, it is a real thing. And interestingly enough, when I started the phone lady, phone phobia already existed. Like it's a documented phobia
Oh my gosh.
for individuals that are terrified of answering or making calls. It's a real phobia. And it's increased over the years as we have gotten rid of most phones. And we have a generation or two that are now in the workforce that have never had to ever talk on a phone. They've never had to answer the house phone or take a message or anything in their younger years. So when they're asked, here's a phone,
Hmm.
make a call, it's like, are you kidding? Can't I just email? Because talking on the phone is a skill. I like to compare it to public speaking. I mean, you have to prepare, you have to kind of know what you're going to say. And then after that, it is all improv. Well, how many of us are comfortable with improv? again, we'd have to practice that.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, this is really tapping into like all the elements of a voice actor, acting,
Right.
improv,
Right.
rehearsing,
Voice.
knowing what you're going to say. Right.
Using a script.
What?
You can use a script if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
If you
go ahead.
if you think of your voicemail as a mini audition,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you'll do it more often.
Mm.
That's
I
exactly
haven't,
what it
you know
is.
what? I haven't like re-upped my or renewed my voicemail message for like, I don't even know how many years. Like
Mm.
iPhone -2. I don't know.
Okay, but so now, ever since we're in a different era, everyone has cell phones. So if we're calling a number, more than likely it's a cell phone number. Like
Absolutely.
98% chance it's a cell phone number. A lot of people are texting. Have you found at all, Mary Jane, that you've had the need to integrate text into your communication with clients and that's what they prefer, or is that not a thing yet for you?
It's not a thing for me. I have a couple of coaching clients that I text with occasionally, but because most of my work is corporate, it's
Right.
not, something that they rely on. But one of the things I think that's important to say is all of us have experienced a text or an email that's gone sideways.
Hmm.
Because
Yes.
when we write something, we're writing it with a tone of voice in our head. But when the other person reads it, they're reading it with a tone of voice in their head, which may be different. So the value of voice communication is that we get to include the tone of what we're saying, that we can provide nuance to what we're saying. And certainly for voice actors, this is the tool you want to promote.
Hmm.
So getting trapped in words on a screen, that's for writers, but you're so you want to use your voice. And again, I mean, you can send audio files by LinkedIn or other means, I'm sure, and that would be valuable as well.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Interesting. These are
So
good
I
ideas.
might be hammering a nail into a coffin here.
Oh no, not
I'm
mine.
not yours, Kim. Uh, what do you see as time wasters in terms of trying to reach your target market? Is social media a total time waster? Because I know you're about cutting to the chase. Let's get that person, let's get them on the phone. Some immediacy, some super directness, like cut the bullshit. So, do you think social media is a waste of time for sales, marketing?
I don't think it's a waste of time, particularly for your existing clients.
Mm-hmm.
When your existing clients see that you're busy or see that you're successful or see that you've done a media interview or that you have a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's incredibly valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident that social media brings you new clients.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Again, there's that distinction between marketing and actually selling your services, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and we know, of course, social media has become more and more and more and more crowded.
Mm.
So we can post something fantastic that no one ever sees.
Right.
Right.
So we can't
Right.
rely on it, right?
And we don't even know if it's going to our target audience.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we can post in the video hirers social media feed. Like we can't
Right,
do that.
right. Like this podcast that you are creating is ideal for both of you to market yourselves as people who can host a podcast or a video cast. But is it being watched or seen or heard by people looking for those hosts? And if
Right.
not, how can you make that happen?
That's a question. That
That's
is
a
a
question we
question.
will be consulting with you later. What are you doing in 45 minutes?
Um, because you're so savvy about so many things, I wonder about if talent doesn't know who their target market is. What is your
Mm.
trick to figuring out who your target market is? I know the answer myself, but I'm curious what your answer is about that.
Well, it's interesting because I coach a lot of new business owners or
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, and it's always my first question. And sometimes people don't know, especially when they're first starting out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you're first starting out, what's your wish list?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to be the voice for um, sports commercials, or would you like to be the voice for movies or cartoons, or um, and start where your wish list is.
Mm-hmm.
But also make sure that you go outside that a little bit because you want to find out too who's in need.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Um, are commercial producers, are they struggling to find the best voices now? There's
Definitely not.
No, that would be a big NO.
Okay. So, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about over the years is that your industry has changed so much, and that COVID or the shutdown really ramped up the number of people that are able to have a studio at home and, you know, attempt to make freelance voiceover their work. But again, are the people that are hiring for whatever, whether it's um, promo, whether it's for software, whether it's for podcasts, are they really finding the talent that is best for them? And an example I'll give you, I ended up streaming something and it had commercials, and it was for the US Fruit Growing
Mm.
Association. The voice was so terrible. It was just, what? You're talking
It was
about watermelon?
distracting.
It was very distracting and not at all in line with what they were talking about. And I thought, I wonder if you're a voiceover, if you would just call the US fruit growers. I don't know who
Yes,
produced it yet,
would.
you know.
Clearly, I
Um,
haven't because you're sharing this with our audience, and I
Not
never.
me, not it, not it, definitely not it. Just putting it out there.
It's a great idea. Someone needs to follow up on.
so as I built the phone lady at the beginning by looking at job ads and identifying companies that were looking for people to do outbound sales. So I knew that they needed people to pick up the phone and talk on the phone and sell. So that's how I started building the business 18 years ago. So if you're building, who are the people that actually need to know about a wide range of voiceover skills, but also really keep track of what you're listening to? Are those good voices? If
Mm-hmm.
you want
Mm-hmm.
to read audiobooks, for example, my goodness, it's easy to find audiobooks that have terrible voices reading them.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
who's producing those audiobooks? Reach out to them, let them know you have samples you can send them, that kind of thing.
Right. So
Brilliant.
clever, right?
Brilliant.
She's
Yep.
the most clever
Hmm.
of all the
It's
humans.
work. And I think that's the hard part
It
when you want to
is.
make money, right? You go, I just want to make money. I want to make money. How can I do that quickly? But there is research that goes behind finding your best clients. And all of us want clients that last for years.
Right.
Yes. Boy, you've shared so many great ideas. Our newsletter is gonna be full of
I
tips.
know.
Yeah. So I
Well,
have one last question. Kim, if you have any, please go ahead. But my last question is, how should freelancers measure the effectiveness of their efforts to increase their brand visibility? So back to the question of, does your target market know you exist? What, in your opinion, is the best way for us to actually measure it instead of being, ignorance is bliss. Maybe what should we be doing to get on
Okay,
it, kick our own butts?
great question. So it's all about keeping some statistics for yourself. And again, people are like, oh, Mary Jane, I just want to make money. I know, I do know. Um, but the idea is that you can, if you don't want to pick up the phone, if you just want to blast out samples of your work, great. How many samples have you sent out? How many people have contacted you because of those samples? And how many jobs did you get?
Mm,
Now, if that's not working well enough for you in terms of your goal, whatever your goal is, do you want to make 30 grand a year from this, or 120 grand a year from this, or 300 grand a year from this? So if that's not working, you want to add something. So let's say you listen to this and go, oh, okay, Mary Jane, I'll make some phone calls. So then you track that. I left voicemail. I sent voice samples with a link to my calendar. How many individuals responded to that? And of those individuals, how many did I get to do a demo for, or how many hot? So you have to keep those statistics.
Analytics. Yeah.
And then as you grow your business, how many came in were referrals? How many are rehires?
Mm-hmm.
This is how you know that you're building your business. When people come back to hire you, you're building your business, not starting it. When people refer you, you're building business. You've got growth on your side now, as opposed to just looking always for new work.
So do the math. I always say do the math. And then also, what's the return on investment? You're doing the work. Are you reaping any rewards from that work? And if not, move on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Natasha, I know that you do a lot of demos and your stats have changed,
Auditions.
auditions, sorry,
Mhm.
a lot over the years, right? So 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you could do X number of auditions and get X number of jobs. But
Mhm.
those numbers, again, because the voiceover business has changed so much, you have to do more auditions to
Mhm.
see those results. But that's fine.
Mhm.
But anytime that we do nothing, we get nothing. I don't know how to explain this without sounding weird, but
Go ahead. We're super
you're in
weird.
good company
Wait, hold that thought. We need to take
okay.
a quick break to do a little promo. We'll be right back.
with the weird.
Okay, cutting in here really quick to tell you about our sponsors and some other exciting stuff we have coming up. First of all, thank you to thevorg.net, the voiceover resource guide. We love them, and you should know that by now. We think they're fabulous. We also love VoiceOver Extra. Be
Oh,
extra,
yes.
but be
Be
VoiceOver
extra.
Extra.
Be
No
voiceover.
E in that. So voiceoverxtra.com. VO for VA, voiceover adjacent business resources.
Very
You can
helpful.
find them at VO for VA, va4vo.com. And also Bidalgo. Thank you, Bidalgo, one of
Yeah.
our favorite online casting platforms.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have coming up a 3-week LinkedIn challenge where we're collaborating with Tracy Lindley. And on September 9th, every day you're gonna, if you sign up, you can get a short video, a short email with little tasks on how you can up level your game on LinkedIn. Please join us for that.
Yeah, sign
Um,
up at speechlessvo.com.
right.
It's only $39 and it starts September 9th, so you need to
Yes.
sign up before that. And
Okay.
also, what
Right.
else do we have for them? Kim? Yeah.
You can also um, sign up and purchase our casting workshops from our August 3rd event. This is exciting. You can purchase Marilyn Wisner's workshop. You can purchase Kristen Paiva's workshop. You can purchase the Voicecasters workshop, or you can purchase all three together. A lot of people were sad that they missed out on this, and we are so glad to bring you a recorded version.
Yep, and you can find that as well at speechlessvo.com. Back to the show. Okay, we're back to hear what Mary Jane has to say about all things
Embracing the weird.
embracing the weird.
Embracing the weird. So I've been selling for over 30 years. And in those 30 years building my own business. And any time that I allowed myself to get caught up in paperwork or doing that kind of office stuff that we love to do, and not reaching out either to existing clients or potential clients, I flatlined in terms of revenue. But if I did outreach, I would create revenue. What was interesting always is that when I did the outreach, automatically I would get new business, but it may not have come from the people that I reached out to. So there's something there about, I don't know how you want to describe it, letting the universe know you're ready for new work, letting the marketplace know that I'm open, I've got time, I've got energy. But I've tracked it over the years. Natasha, I think you have tracked it too since we first talked about it. That anytime we do outreach, work comes in. Anytime we spend a lot of time hoping and sending messages and doing social media, not so
Not so
much.
much.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a
So that's
perfect,
the weird
perfect way
bit,
to
but it's
end
not
it.
weird for us. It
Not
makes
weird for
total
us.
sense, right?
Yep.
Mary Jane, thank you so much for your wisdom,
Cheers.
always
Cheers to
and
you.
forever.
Thank you. This was an amazing conversation. I'm all hyped up now.
Yeah.
What I'll do with this energy. It's great talking to both of you.
This episode of Speechless is brought to you by
Bidalgo. What is it? It's one of our favorite online casting platforms.
Why? Because it's easy. Because we can be booked directly and we can set our own rates.
Clients directly negotiate with us, and Bidalgo does not charge commission fees.
Commercials, corporate, podcasts, audiobooks, e-learning, and more.
Professional.
Award-winning casting.
Outstanding results.
We recommend.
Are you a completely overwhelmed VO who needs to get some tasks off your plate?
Need a second job but don't want to leave the industry?
Well, we've got you both covered. Welcome to VA for VO.
Hi, I'm Miranda Ellis.
And I'm Bridget Reel.
And I'm Lynn Norris, and we are VA for VO, the ultimate voiceover outsourcing resource.
We connect voice actors who need to outsource aspects of their VO business
To VO adjacent specialists.
So if you need help or have skills to offer, come talk to us.
We offer education, connection, and community.
We'd love for you to be a part of it.
Visit vaforvo.com to learn more.
Hey, did you know that the very first newsletter in our industry still exists today?
I did. It's called VoiceOver Extra.
Mhm. It's got daily announcements, it's got career building advice, it's got products, opportunities.
Tons of articles, tons of
Yes.
webinars to purchase.
Yes, and we're going to be extra, so extra, and tell you to sign up for VoiceOver Extra. Tell them how.
You go to voiceoverextra.com. That's voiceoverextra.com. The VoiceOver Resource Guide. What is the VoiceOver Resource Guide?
It's an incredible networking tool. Not only that, but it's also the industry's oldest publication since, drumroll please, 1988.
Sounded like a cat. The publication comes out twice a year and now covers LA and New York and Chicago.
And there's also a free online version called thevorg.net.
Right. Here you can find recording studios, casting services, agents, rates, demo production, events, and so much more, and has the most up-to-date map search.
That's pretty cool. You can pick up your very own publication in various locations across the United States, or just go to thevorg.net and get one shipped right to you.
Speechless. Speechless.